right, it is the takeover, man. It's the takeover, Corey. It is the high school football, Florida high school football takeover.
Right? Like this? Like this? Maybe?
It's the takeover, man. Man, we got the helmet, Corey.
I got the hat.
We got the hat, and we got the man.
We got the man.
The man and the myth right here, right?
We think we have a hard job covering just Jacksonville area. He covers the entire state of Florida.
I don't sleep, maybe. I do sleep. I do sleep, honestly. I sleep.
Well, for y'all who do not know who is behind this great brand here, it is Joshua Wilson, owner and publisher of High School Florida Football. Man, thank you for coming to the Press Box Show with Duval Sports, man.
Yes.
Man,
Josh and I have known each other for a long time. When I worked at Clay Today.
Jeez, I remember he was covering Clay Today. I was in high school, so you know, that makes me.
Man, he's calling you out, Corey. Man,
he's politely calling me old. Is basically what he's calling me.
No, Corey is 30 years young.
I'll take that. I went to Orange Park. Josh went to Middleburg, so we've known each other for a long time. So we always during football season we always talk about each other.
Oh yeah.
Teams. So Josh, the reason why he brought you here today,
right?
This new playoff system, man.
The biggest change we've had in probably 25 years in the state.
Wow.
I don't need a calculator. I don't need a geometry book.
You don't want a protractor.
I hope I don't need a protractor.
Yeah.
You might need a pencil.
Yeah, you need
or a pen.
Explain this whole playoff system to
Well, the playoff system, it's basically, it's getting to the teams to get a strength of schedule. That's basically what it's coming down to. It's basically saying the average is like, you know what, no, we're tired of these 1-9, 2-8, 3-7 teams getting the playoffs. I mean, personally myself, I'm sick of it. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make for good football. I mean, I was talking to Coach Hokestra from Clay High School. I mean, it's like a couple of years ago, they played Eastside, 1-9 team, and they blew them out 60-0. Who wants to see that in the playoffs? Playoffs is supposed to be about getting the best teams in, and this is what it does. I mean, the point system. Yeah, I know there's going to be some complications here with this and with the point system. And I know, Corey, you don't want to have to pull out the protractor, the geometry.
I just think that there shouldn't be math involved.
Right, and some people are, they're apprehensive. They've gotten complacent with the system the last 25 years of district champ, runner up, you're in. Except for the 4 years where you had the wild card system, but that was kind of that was different on basis of how that worked.
Even that required some math, but it didn't require as much as this.
No, because considering if you look at it, I mean the point system, it comes down to it's basically it comes down to you're having to rely on all your opponents to make sure, hey, are they going to do well? What are they going to do during each week? You're basically, once you play, and you're going to become that cheerleader of that team that you just played the previous week for the rest of the season.
Wow.
So if you beat a team that finishes 8-2 or higher, you get
50 points.
Okay.
And now if you lose them, it's 30 points. So there's a 20-point difference here. So you start to go down. And that's what they call Category 1 points, and that's teams that have won more than 80% of their games, 80% or higher. So that's where you start at, and it goes from 60 to 79% in that range. That's what they call Category 2, 45 points, 25 points, and then you get down to Category 3, which involves your 5-5, 4-6 teams. So they, more at least 40%, but no more than 59% of your games, and that's 40 points, 20 points, and then you get down to the bottom of the heap of what you want to of the teams, 35 and 15. And it's basically instead of trying to make the points, where it's okay if you lose a game, where basically if you lose, they don't want to make sure the points don't, where you get more for winning than you do losing.
So you still get points regardless if you
right, but you're not going to get as many. Losing to a Category 1 team, you get 30 points, whereas you're beating a Category 4 team, you get 35 points for a win. So it's kind of like you don't want to have too many where it's with the points where they're kind of crossing each other, where it's like, oh well, I'm going to lose this game anyway.
So how do they come up with what team is in what category?
It's basically the end of the season record. So it's going to be, from my understanding, what I have been told is that the FHA's got this whole thing laid out, ready to go. And they're going to start, they'll enter the data each week, but it's not going to calculate any points out for teams until they get further into the season, once they get their 8 games, because it requires an 8-game minimum to be qualified for the playoffs. So if you do not reach that 8-game minimum for some reason, most teams have got their 8 games on the schedule, and hopefully, barring any hurricanes,
I'm about to say hurricane.
knock on wood.
Because last year was terrible, right?
Right.
I mean,
Right, we just had a tropical storm
hurricanes.
come across the state that started practice, the most Floridian thing ever. And I'm like, I just hope it's not a preview to what we're going to experience this season. I really hope that we don't have a hurricane or two to try to challenge the system, because we need to see how the entire season works out with the whole 11-week schedule.
Right.
In that case, but the points, it's they're going to add it up. We're going to hopefully what the FHA is going to do is we're going to start seeing some kind of updates during mid-season, kind of see where teams are kind of standing at in terms of, because after week 1, everybody's going to be a category 1 or a category 4. There ain't going to be no 2 or 3.
Right.
Once we get further in the season, we'll start to see that. But once we get closer, once we get to week 11, they're going to lock down tight, not say anything, because the selection show. That's going to be fun.
Well,
a bracket reveal.
To put it in simplest terms, basically,
Right.
is the better when it comes down toward the end of the year, the better team that you have played. If you have played a 7-3 or 8-2 team, you get
8-2 and higher.
Okay, 8-2 or higher, you get X amount of
50 points, which is the big thing.
If you played a 6-4 and a 7-3 team, you get X amount of points. If you played a 1-9 and 2-8 team, you're only going to get a small amount of points. So basically, what it is, it's strength of schedule. I get that. So that's just part A. Then we throw in part B, where you get bonus points for every playoff team you get.
Yeah, and that's the case for you look at
Thank God this part is already figured out.
But it's straight, right, and it's wonderful. You get 3 points per team that you played that had been reached the playoffs in either 2015 or 16. Maximum you can get is 3 points per game, and then a maximum of total of you could get 30 points potentially. But that's the only teams in the small.
My hair, I have none.
The teams in the smaller.
It's algebra, I tell you.
But
X plus Y equals Z.
It's fuzzy math, man. It's fuzzy math.
let's do the Pythagorean
All right,
theorem,
so if this is not all confusing, the part I really get though, that part's complicated. I struggled in algebra. I don't know how you did in algebra, but we shouldn't. I'm excited about this, but
I was good at math in my early days of school, but later on, no.
This is.
But the part I do get, the part I do understand is
you want the best teams in the playoffs.
when they figure out who the 8 teams are based on the point system and the averages, then they seed the 8 teams 1 through 8.
1 through 8. Now your district champions in 5A through 8A are guaranteed at least within the first top 4. So there's a chance where you could say,
let's just say for league, for example.
Well, league could be a number 1 seed, with their schedule. Look at their schedule. I think there's only 1 non-playoff team on their schedule, maybe 2. And that's looking at that schedule, that's a schedule that your league, you want that schedule because you win those games and those teams do well. Most of this majority of teams like Reims and Rebolt and them, they do well. They do 7-3, 8-2, kind of having those kind of seasons. You're gonna put yourself in position for a 1 or 2 seed. And what's nice is that instead of having to figure out which line of the bracket each week who's going to be the home team, your seeding number. Okay, if you're number 1, you're home for the first 3 rounds. You're number 8, you're on the road for the first 3 rounds. Sorry, I think that's fair because you know what? Hey, you work for it.
Let me tell you where this was good. Speaking locally, you got Bowles and Trinity.
Oh, that district. District.
One of them's going to win the district.
Right.
The other one's going to be a wild card team. What this does is
it doesn't shut the door
for a Ponte Vedra, a Westside, or Bishop Kenny.
It doesn't shut the door.
I still have something to play for if I lose to either team.
Right. If you lose, and you're Ponte Vedra and you lose the Bowles and Trinity, you're still not out of it. You could technically go 8-2, still lose to those 2 teams, and still be playoff qualified.
Wow, that's cool.
That takes.
So this is where the excitement is.
This is where the excitement, and there's a potential where where a district might totally get shut out besides their district champion, where they get one team and that's it. And there's a potential. I've already looking at a couple of districts where, there's a potential that this could happen where they might get shut out because the teams either didn't schedule strong enough, or the teams are just kind of like they're all in the middle of the road, sort of, that it's not going to help anybody.
So my question is, let's say that example, you're Ponte Vedra, you come in 3rd, but you won all your other games.
Right.
Besides losing to Bowles and Trinity.
Right. You're 8-2. You're gonna get you're gonna have the points probably sitting there to do it.
But where are they going to put them in the bracket?
They'll be in the 5 to 8 range. That's what will be the wild card. That's what your former district.
Kind of like a wild card bracket.
Right. So they'll be somewhere seated 5 to 8 in that range. That's what would happen.
Okay.
So the district champs are guaranteed within the first 4 seeds. So you could potentially and theoretically.
So Bowles or Trinity would be a 5 seed.
Whoever
doesn't win that district.
So what could potentially happen is that you could also potentially have we're in that first round where you could end up having, say, okay, it's Bowles and Trinity end up meeting in the first round because of the way the seeding happens. There's potential for that to happen. But if we
could see Bowles Ponte Vedra,
right,
Trinity Ponte Vedra in the first round.
But that would create some excitement for Gates and stuff. With that, the teams are in that, and even when talking about it with the Class 6A, that the South region, that's not that district has Matanzas and Mainland on them. There's a potential of where Mainland could be hosting a team from Miami week 1 instead of having to play Sebastian.
Well, that's
River.
for another discussion.
Wow.
But it proves the point of where you're going to get these matchups that are going to be like, well, wait a second, we're going to have we may have some really good matchups round 1 that we
early on.
That's what you want. You want to go from round 1 to round 2 to round 3. You want to have every round of the playoffs until you get to Orlando. You want to have excitement. Round 1 has not been exciting the last 4, 5, 6 years. It's not. Maybe a few games, but you want every game in every classification to be exciting as possible. This is what it's going to be tough if anybody gets down there, because you got St. Thomas Aquinas, who is in the top 5 ranked nationally to start off in the preseason rankings.
And as good as Lee was last year, I'm not sure.
No, I think Lee does have a good chance to try to make a run to get to Orlando. That ain't the issue. It's if you get there. Who do you face on the other side of the field?
You got the Patriots on the other side. Right.
You got the Patriots. You got the Raiders of St. Thomas Aquinas probably waiting for you on the other side. So in 6A, that's a wide open question with 6A, because it could be any of the Panhandle teams. It could be all the way going down to Armwood, getting back into it again. Armwood's got a new coach down there. So again, locally, if St. Augustine could really put something together, they would make a run. But
so 5A.
5A would might be your first shot.
6 feet?
Yeah, 5 feet, for Trinity, I think that's
a 5 feet.
A 5 feet, because a 5 feet's never been done. So the problem is that, if you look back, okay, Booker T, Washington, Miami Central, they had the shot last year. Central missed, and Booker T got handed by Cocoa. The question now is, does Trinity actually finally break this firewall down? Because, Swanee, North Florida Christian couldn't do it, Swanee couldn't do it. Trinity might have a good chance, but again, 5A is a different animal than 3A in terms of playoff teams. But, a lot of the 5A public schools are like, Trinity, what did we get ourselves into now? That's the thing. So I think right there, that's a good shot. If Reigns makes it, that would probably be a good chance for them. If depending on who they draw, if they draw Coco's going to be probably not as powerful this year as they were last year against Bulls. But if that was the case, but if they get Booker T, it might be a different story.
So I'm hearing a lot of could.
I don't think there's a definite.
Who's getting the trophy?
If there's going to be if the one team that is getting the trophy, it's University Christian. In 2A, I think they can get it. I think University Christian could go 5-5 on their schedule, but they could still.
I've been saying this for 2 years. I'm going on the record. I said it for 2 years now. Trinity will 5-peat.
Well, I think Trinity will 5-peat in the case of depending on who they draw on the South. If they get American Heritage Plantation, that's really going to be a real good game. You get a public school, lights out.
Trinity is not as good this year as they were last year.
They still got some talent,
but they reload.
Yeah, they do. But
still got Eric Gilliard.
On defense, they're solid, and offense is just young.
But defense wins you championships, as they say.
But we didn't know. But 1 or 2 years ago, we didn't know who the stars were that were last year. We didn't know who these guys were 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
They rate, and where do they go to get all the talent at? Sweetwater.
Hey, it's a like y'all said, hey,
But-
it's a different district now, man.
So you got Trinity Christian. I'm saying University Christian has a real, I think, can bring it home. I mean, 3A, you're not going to do 3A team here.
And Andre's picking lead and win the state title, so.
Whoa!
I have not revealed that yet, man. I have not, but
No, we'll have our picks later. We just
see.
want to get Josh picks.
Because it's a matter of, I think, it's a, you gotta look. I gotta look a little bit more at the teams, seeing what's going on. Because again, looking at the schedules, these schedules, a lot of the schedules with the thing, a lot of teams, actually heeded the advice of what the FHA said. You gotta schedule tougher. Gotta be in line for the points. Otherwise, you're not going to make the playoffs.
All right, go ahead.
Josh, I got to ask you a question. Since we have you here, man,
Yeah.
right? Where does Northeast Florida stack compared to other football programs in the state? As far as
It's gotten better. I will say this. I think it's gotten better over the last 4 or 5 years.
give it to us straight, man.
Well, I think there was a point where it was where South Florida was just total domination, and it's nice to see that North Florida does get a little bit of into that piece of the pie of winning state championships. But it'd be nice to see if the public schools could actually kind of break that firewall down and not just be, we're talking about Trinity and University Christian every year. I mean, no offense to those programs. I mean, they've got wonderful coaching, great players, and all that. But it'd be nice to see like a team like, okay, can Reigns actually come and win another title? It's been 20 years since they won a state championship. We've seen Jacksonville teams get here. We've seen other teams in the area get here, but they're not winning it because they're running up against the wall of the private schools and some of that, or they're just running up really good teams, and that's the case. But if North Florida, if you really want to, if you're talking about North Florida, that's. It's up there, but everybody's still going to talk South Florida. I can't say it enough. Everybody talks South Florida. We all know it. That's the thing. But there's talent everywhere. Florida's not just 3 counties downstate. We're 67 counties. There's talent everywhere, and really the talent's more spread out. And some of it's school choice. School choice has been another thing right there, and you see players go, leave to go to different programs and stuff, and that has changed the dynamics of high school football.
When we go to the state finals, we talk to the media from all the different parts of the state, and we've gotten to know several of the writers from all the different parts of the state. One of the things we always hear is, well, yeah, you got Bowles, Trinity, and UC. That's it. It would be nice, if not just for Duval County, for a Clay, a Bartow Trail.
Which Clay has been to the state championship.
St. Augustine and Nice have won state titles, but now it's been so long since they've won a state title that they're no longer in the conversation.
Right.
The conversation is always, well, you got Bowles, Trinity, and UC, and that's all you got. So until some of these other teams start winning state titles again, hopefully it's a Duval County team. But if not, then we, Clay or St. John's or Nassau or any other teams win state titles. We will always get mentioned Bowles, Trinity.
Who knows? Who knows what to expect, especially with this crazy playoff thing, right?
But for a program like Nice, Tim Tebow's not walking through those doors again.
And see, the thing in Miami though is, they're guaranteed, and especially in 8A, they're guaranteed a spot in the finals every year because of the way the playoffs. There's so many teams in South Florida. So when you talk Miami football, South Florida football, you always Central, Northwestern, Booker T, Carroll City. Because chances are one of those 4 is going to be playing for state title. Other than St. Thomas and Fort Lauderdale, nobody starts talking about private schools down there.
Right.
It's all public schools. And that's what needs to change up here for us to get any kind of respect.
And that's where the public schools need to start, where they've got to think. And some of it's going to be, you've got to build a program. You can't just, go skate. And this is where I've gotten on, where I have poked at teams, and I will poke, the one team I would poke at is Lakeland for scheduling cupcakes every year. Well, now Lakeland finally decided to dump the cupcakes off and go schedule tougher. That's the thing. You got to, you want to be the best. You got to beat the best. You want to be the man. You got to beat the man.
Right.
Well, he's Josh Wilson with FloridaHSFootball.com.
He's the man. He's the man.
You want the best statewide coverage? You go to his website.
Yeah.
Check him out. He's got podcasts, everything around there. He's on Instagram.
Awesome.
He's on
Twitter, Facebook.
He's on Facebook. He's on Periscope.
Everything.
He's everything about social media. He's Andre Ellis. I'm Corey Davis, and you're watching the Press Box.
And I appreciate it, Gabe.